The 2024-25 Women's Super League is on the horizon. In preparation, we're previewing every single team and discussing how they'll shape up over the next campaign. We take a look at the transfer business conducted by the teams so far and offer suggestions of who else they should move for before the season gets underway. Today we preview Manchester City. A solid campaign last year was marred by a lack of silverware. They lost out on the WSL title by goal difference and now they want to right that wrong. We discuss whether their transfer business has done enough to close the gap to Chelsea and why Gareth Taylor must win something this season to keep his job. This is our 2024-25 season preview for Manchester City. Alright, let's get into it then. We like to start these previews by going back through last season and talking about where they fell short, where they succeeded. With Manchester City, it was a season that promised so much and yet they've come away with it with nothing. And it's weird because I think a lot of people would agree that City were a better team than Arsenal last season. Yet Arsenal still came away from last season with the Conti Cup while City come away empty-handed. Do you think there'll be a bit of frustration about that from City's part?
I think so, yeah. It's a really tough one to judge because, when you look on the surface of it, Manchester City should be a side that are winning trophies. They were trophyless again last season. Now that's now back-to-back seasons without a trophy. That's not good enough from a club like Man City with the players they've got. However, when you break it down, losing the league title on goal difference is ridiculously tough. The Conti Cup semi-finals they were knocked out by the only team that were better than them domestically, which was Chelsea. I think the FA Cup will be the really annoying one because that was a silly loss to Tottenham on penalties, while Chelsea and Arsenal both got knocked out as well. So
Chelsea got through to the next round. Obviously,
and then we're knocked
City
out eventually.
lost in that quarter final. If they'd won that, they'd have played Leicester for a chance to play United. So I think there'll be a lot of frustration there because that would have been a really nice run to the final. And in the game against United, a lot of people would have backed them to win because they have a good record against Manchester United. So I think there'll be a lot of frustration there because there was a lot of opportunity for City to claim silverware last year and they didn't. However, coming into this season, I think their prospects are high. Yeah. They're going to be, they will hope to win the Champions League. That'll be the first hurdle that they didn't jump last year that they need to jump this year. Paris FC's a nice draw. We saw that come out yesterday in the draw. So I think that's quite nice for City. They should win that. But I think it's a season where they've got to win something.
I think, but for City, you've got to believe because if you look at it, they lost the league title last season because Chelsea were perfect. City were perfect, but Chelsea were even more perfect in terms of they just scored more goals. They were very, very close to perfection. But the thing this year is that Chelsea are under a new manager, and the worry for Chelsea is that there is no breathing room. If Chelsea drop points early on, or they don't get going immediately, City can get themselves ahead. And if City can replicate, that's it for me. If City can replicate the season they had last season, they've got a much greater chance of winning the league this year. Because I think there's more of a chance that Chelsea do slip up somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting last season because obviously City beat Chelsea and drew them, I believe, the other occasions. So they were unbeaten across the season against Chelsea, but they lost to Arsenal in both matches. Yeah. So there was just that. It was just weird because if they'd beaten Arsenal or drawn in one of those two matches, they would have won the title. And for that to be the fine margin, when they've beaten Chelsea twice in a season, they didn't drop points Chelsea all season, that was, frustration.
They were so close to each other, like but when either one slipped up, the other one responded, as you say. So obviously, City beating Chelsea was then nullified by the fact that City lost to Arsenal and Chelsea beat Arsenal. City, dropped points at Brighton. Was again Chelsea then went and dropped points at Liverpool. So they kept trading, slip ups, and it'll be one of those where that's why it's hard to judge because City, you can go they should have gone and beaten Brighton to win the league, but if you're going to say that, then you can also say that Chelsea should have won Liverpool, and then suddenly it doesn't matter what City did at Brighton.
Yeah, I think the much more realistic one though is that when they got to that penultimate game of the season and they were leading against Arsenal, to concede twice in the last 5 minutes is absolutely criminal, and they should have won the league. Yeah. Because they should have seen that game out and they would have had no trouble in the final game with getting at least a point. So I think there'll be a lot of frustration in that regard. But let's talk about this season then, why there is reason to believe they may actually win something this year. We'll start with the transfer business then. Outgoings, I think, to be fair, there's not anyone in this list they're going to miss massively. Steph Houghton has, of course, retired. That's a big voice in the changing rooms. Not a player who had a huge impact on the pitch in the last few years, but an incredible player and a real icon of the game in England. So big loss in terms of a voice, in terms of a face, but on the pitch they shouldn't feel that impact too much. Ellie Roebuck has gone to Barcelona. I thought this was a bit of a weird signing. I mean, she was frustrated that she's not getting minutes at Manchester City, so she's gone to Barcelona to get less minutes. I really don't understand that one from her perspective. I thought she would have gone somewhere like Manchester United, like Aston Villa, where she was going to go and be the starting goalkeeper. Instead, she's gone to Barcelona to go and not play football. So, don't really understand that one on her part. But for Manchester City, it's a backup goalkeeper that they weren't using. She wants to go and get more minutes. She wants to go and get a suntan and watch Catalina Carl play football. That's fine. I don't really understand it from her perspective, but for City, they've gone and replaced her.
Yeah, and hopefully for Roebuck at some point this season we will see her back on the grass and back playing football, consistently. But yeah, as you
I
say,
don't see how unless Catalina Carl has a howler.
Well, you never know. She's a good goalkeeper. Hopefully she gets a chance, but realistically she wasn't going to get in over Keating.
Yeah, fair enough. And then we've got Philippa Angeldal joining Real Madrid. I think this is going to be a big loss. They've not replaced her. They've not gone and got another middle midfielder. So, yeah, I think they're going to fill this one. They don't have another defensive midfielder. They have signed central midfielders, but Hasegawa is now the only player, really, who can play that defensive midfield role. Right. So, yeah, to be fair, if you are going to have one player be the glue, let it be Yuri Hasegawa. But, yeah, I think they'll fill this one. Real Madrid are building what is a very decent-looking outfit. I'll be intrigued to see how close they are to Barcelona. I still think they will be clarted by Barcelona in the Liga F, but maybe they'll be able to offer a bit of a challenge this season. And then Ruby Mace going to Leicester City. I'm not hugely surprised by this one. When they signed Laura Blinkilder, they've already got Jess Park.
Yeah.
The first team progression isn't there for Mace. No. So if you can cash in on her now, she wants to move and get game time. That's understandable. I don't see the issue here. Is her ceiling as high as Jess Park's? Probably not. Is it as high as Laura Blinkilder Brown's? Probably not. So, and they spent £200,000 on her only 6 months ago. So if you're going to favour one or the other, it's always going to be the other two. I think Mace had to prioritise her game time, so City wasn't the team for her right now. Then Demi Stokes has left to join Newcastle. She's always been a very reliable performer for Manchester City, had a bit part role to play last season, and then of course departed on a free transfer at the end of the season. She's now at Newcastle, who are going to be one of the strongest teams, I think, in the Women's Championship, which is going to be interesting because you've got London City Lionesses, who are spending an absolute shit ton of money. You have got Sunderland, who I think are looking pretty sharp.
Or lost 5-0 to Birmingham.
They did lose 5-0 to Birmingham, but they are still a decent team. If that was an extenuous result. You've got then, of course, Newcastle, who we think will be strong this year.
Yeah.
They've added a lot of quality. So, yeah, will be interesting to see what happens there. And then Esme Morgan has gone out to the States to play for Washington Spirit. So, yeah, change of scenery for her. She's not really been a starter for Manchester City. And I saw an interview where she was talking about it. She spoke to Serena Weigman, who said, if you're not starting every game, or you're not starting regularly, you're not going to be in the England squad.
Yeah.
So she's chose to go out to America, where she will start for Washington Spirit, and so to try and keep her place in the England side.
Yeah, it will be a position that needs to be replaced by City, because Morgan did do a very good job of covering along the back line, and it's very rare that you get a player that carries such versatility and quality as well. I think Morgan was a very, very good player. She will do very well at Washington Spirit. I've no doubt about that. But City definitely need to find someone that can come in and fill her position.
Right, then let's talk about the big incoming to start. There's a lot of incoming to go through, but let's talk about the big one, Vivian Miedema. This is an absolute statement signing. 28 years old. One of the best forwards in the WSL, in WSL's history. One of the top goal scorers in every competition she's played in. She's an absolutely phenomenal forward. And if City didn't have enough goals through Khadija Shaw, they've now got Vivian Miedema as well. It's brilliant.
It is. I have some reservations. I think it's a brilliant signing, and as you say, it's that whole rivalry aspect of it in terms of you've gone and taken an incredible striker off of one of your rivals. If Miedema can get back firing, she is one of the best strikers in the world. Now, I do think a fresh start is what she needed. Last season at Arsenal, when she came back from her injury, was really tough, and it was tough to watch for us, to watch such a good player struggle so much, not playing in the right position, being shoehorned in. It was a mess. Hopefully at City, she won't have that same problem. Obviously, I do think there will be a bit of a scenario that will develop once Khadija Shaw is back. But while Shaw is injured, Miedema looks like a fantastic signing.
Well, to be fair, it does look like Shaw will be back for the start of the season. She has played pre-season. But what I would say is that Manchester City are playing in multiple competitions this season. If they are into the Champions League, then they've got to rotate at some point.
But these, my problem is I'll be intrigued how that goes down, because I don't think you're going to have two happy strikers. These are two strikers who want to play week in, week out. I think rotating Khadija Shaw it could be a criminal offence.
No, I know. I get what you're saying, but they will still play week in, week out because City will be playing 2 games a week. And so I think you'll be able to say to Khadija, look, we're resting you, but we're playing in the Champions League in the week.
Then you've got to say to Miedema that you're not playing Champions League.
Well, she's going to come off the bench.
Maybe.
I think there's enough minutes to go around.
I'll be intrigued to see what happens.
There's no way that Miedema has joined with expectation of starting every game.
Potentially, and maybe that's it.
If she'd said, I want to play every match, then City would have gone, well, that's not happening, we're going to pull out.
No.
So there's got to be an understanding there of what the game time's going to look like.
I don't know.
I think her issue at Arsenal wasn't the game time, it was that she was playing out of position and that Eidevall didn't like her. That was the issue for her at Arsenal. It's why she joined Manchester City. I think she'll be happy to play the rotation role with Khadija Shaw. I mean, we may see them play 2 up front.
Yeah,
that is another eventuality we haven't really seen explored. So there are options there, but 80 WSL goals for Vivianne Miedema. Her accolades: 2 Frauen-Bundesliga, a WSL title in 18-19, 3 Conti Cup titles, the Women's Euros in 2017, and twice she was the Champions League top goal scorer. So she does score goals. She's also the Netherlands all-time leading goal scorer across both men's and women's competitions. She is the top goal scorer. So she does score a lot of goals. Yeah. And if that's what City needs, City lost a title on goals last season. Maybe Gareth Taylor's just thinking, well, if we're 4-1 up, or if we're up by a couple, we'll throw 2 strikers on, we'll see how many we get.
Maybe.
But I don't see how this is a bad signing. I think, you're signing someone with huge WSL experience, someone who will be able to offer a real mentoring to Poppy Pritchard, who's one of the most exciting young strikers in the WSL right now. I see no way this goes wrong. I think if she's happy to be the rotation striker, you've got 2 world-class forwards.
Yeah.
Miedema on her day is a world-class striker, and Shaw is always world-class because it's always her day. So you've got 2 top quality strikers there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think time will tell to whether it was Eidevall or whether it was Miedema.
I think it's them not liking each other.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think it's anything to do with
Eidevall is
Arsenal.
a bit of a... Yeah.
But yeah, up next then, Risa Shimizu, a squad rotation option then coming in from West Ham. This very much replaces what they had with Esme Morgan, but it's going to be on the right-hand side. She can play centre-half, she can play right-back, she'll probably rotate between those 2 positions.
Yeah, I thought she was... no. But I don't know. It's a weird one. From coming from West Ham...
Well, it seems that Gareth Taylor's got a sudden love for the Japanese.
He has.
He's signed 3 Japanese players this window, and he's already got Yu Hasegawa. So maybe Hasegawa fancied having some teammates, and
maybe.
So that's Gareth Taylor's one recruitment
She's good.
focus.
Let's sign her national teammates.
Let's sign all the Japanese footballers. But yeah, I think it's a fairly okay rotation option. I think she's someone who can come in and do a shift. She's got WSL experience. She's not going to be expecting to start every match. She's not going to play at right back over Kirsten Kasparai. She's not going to play at centre half over Alexandri. But she is an option to rotate in and out of games. She can play cup competitions. She can come on last 25 minutes, give players a rest. She's not going to be starting every match, but she can play to the level they need her to in specific matches.
Yeah,
maybe. It's a bit like, Chelsea have a couple of players who don't really start games, but it's a nice rotation option.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then up next, Aoba Fagino then. We saw her play a little bit at the Olympics. She can play on the left flank, she can play in central midfield. And this is where we start to go, well, what are City doing in midfield this season? Are they going to play 2 more attacking players? So, what is this whole City midfield going to look like? Fagino, I think, will probably rotate on the left flank, but we may see her in the central area as well. She comes in from Tokyo Verde Beleza. Again, I have no idea who they are, but they play in the Japanese league, I could guess, based on the Tokyo. But yeah, she's a good player. We saw her play a bit at the Olympics. She was quite good. I'll be intrigued to see. She's only 20 years old, so definitely one for the future. Yeah. But they seem to just be building, because they've already got Kelly, Hemp, Shaw as their front 3. And obviously, Miedema as well now, so almost a front 4 that are a bit older.
Yeah.
And then they are building this younger attack that is learning under them. You've got Pritchard, you've got Fagino, you've got Park, you've got Fowler, that seem to just be, they'll be there developing, a bit like they're doing the men's side, they're developing under the players before the players leave.
Yeah.
So if there was a big deal, if there was a £1 million offer for Khadija Shaw, it's not panic stations. Because they've got Miedema, they've got Pritchard coming through. If there was a big offer from PSG for one of their wide players, there was lots of rumours there. If there was a big offer, then they've got the players there who've played under Kelly to understand what their role is and then come in and fit in seamlessly. So it's very much future planning this window from Manchester City. Then Eve Annette's coming in from Reading. She has since been loaned back out to Portsmouth, so young goalkeeper. The other thing they seem to be doing this window is just signing loads of goalkeepers. Maybe their thought process is, if we sign all the goalkeepers, then we'll just score against everyone and win everything.
And Man United
It's
can't
a smart. Yeah, just sign all of the goalkeepers. Man United don't get one. But yeah, so they've signed Eve Annette. Then they've also signed Ayaka Yamashita, who we think will come in and be that backup option. A slightly, someone who can offer a decent option there. Probably the Roebuck replacement. She's slightly older, I believe, as well, so it will be an okay rotation option there.
Yeah.
They've also signed Katie Startup from Brighton, who is a younger goalkeeper, but I don't really understand the point of signing a young goalkeeper when your goalkeeper who's starting is also young, because Keating's not going anywhere.
No.
So what's the progression for Katie Startup? I don't know. I really don't know. If she'd stayed at Brighton, I think she could have fought for the first team spot, because I don't think Bagley's that great. She's gone to Manchester City to go and sit on the bench for a year at the very least. So no idea what the incentive is for her to go to City. Money? Who knows? Then you've got Naomi Lazelle. This is an exciting signing at left back. Another youngster coming in from Bristol City in the Women's Championship. I think it's a smart one.
Yeah, very much so. Apart from Miedemar, I think this is their best signing in the window. I really do. A very, very good player, and very exciting talent. Has represented the Lionesses at youth level. I think she will be a very, very good player. And I think the fact that she's signed for Man City so early shows how good she is. Coming out from Bristol City, going straight up to a WSL title challenging side, shows how good she is, that she can make that progression. She won't play every minute, but she'll definitely get a good few minutes. But overall, a very, very exciting talent.
Yeah, definitely so. Let's have a look then at how this squad shapes up on the squad screen. Then I've put it in the 4-3-3 from last season. Again, it may suddenly change. They might play two up front and just score hundreds of goals every game and not worry about the defensive effort. But let's start from the back then. In goal, they have all of the goalkeepers in the league. They've got Keating, Yamashita, Startup, McIver. I don't know why Sandy McIver's there anymore either, because she's seen so many goalkeepers come in the door this window. Surely you look for somewhere else to play football. But yeah, they've signed loads of goalkeepers. They've also got Eve Annette, who is there.
They've signed.
She's got out on loan, so that's okay. But there's so many goalkeepers.
They've signed so many goalkeepers, but Keating's still nailed on. That's why it's bizarre.
With Keating.
Yeah, none of these goalkeepers for me. There's not even a debate over who starts. So it's bizarre that they've brought in so many goalkeepers. But Kiara Keating's bloody good.
The thing is, I get why you bring in one more to replace Roebuck.
Yeah.
So I can skip the Yamashita one, and then if you did want a younger goalkeeper for God knows what reason, then either Startup or Annette, and then you loan them out. So Annette, I get, but Startup's the one for me that doesn't make any sense, because she's not going to play now. She's not going out on loan yet. Well, they've got 2 days. Well, maybe if United are desperate, they've got 2 days to the window shuts, and there's actually a day by the time this goes out. So yeah, it's close now. I don't really see her leaving, so she's just there. I don't get it unless they're going to give her cup minutes. But then what's Yamashita there for? Who knows? Let's go forwards to right back then. At right back, they've got Kirsten Kasparai, who I think will start in that role this season. I think they'll move Alexandria to centre half. If not, they've got 3 right backs and no centre half. So I assume that's what they're doing. They've also then got Shimizu. So Kasparai, Shimizu, nice options at right back. Alexandria can cover there as well. A centre half, Kennedy, Alexandri. Not sure which of those is going to start. I think it might be Alexandri.
Yeah, probably.
Based on what we saw last season. Left centre half, Greenwood and Grace Pryor. We're going to see Greenwood play every minute. But Gracie Pryor, youngster. I'll be interested to see if she can break into the first team a bit this season. She's been listed on the Manchester City, on their website. She's on the squad. So that does indicate she'll be involved this season. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Then left back, they've got Uahabi, they've got Lazelle. I think there'll be rotation there across competitions. They're both competent. I think, Uahabi understands the system now, very decent player. Lazelle, very young, but they'll try and bed her in and get her comfortable with this City team. Defensive midfield, they have just got Yui Hasegawa. I guess Coombs could play deeper. I think that Coombs and Blinkild will probably rotate in the box-to-box midfielder type role. And then obviously once Raud's back, her and Park will rotate in that attacking midfielder or that more advanced midfielder role. For now, I think Blinkild will rotate with Park in there. but they're very light in midfield.
Yeah,
They've
really.
lost Angeldal, and it just seems like they now don't have any midfielders. Because obviously Angeldal covers your defensive midfield position, but she also covers the box-to-box type role.
Yeah.
So how that's going to look, I'm not exactly sure. I imagine they're just going to have to pray Yui Hasegawa never feels tired or gets injured. Because barring that, I don't see how that midfield works.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you lose Hasegawa, there's just a giant hole in the team. So not really sure what they're doing there. Then on the left flank, they've got Hemp and Fagino. Obviously, Fagino can play in central areas. Lauren Hemp, fantastic player. She forms a great front three there. On the right-hand side, Kelly and Fowler. I'm not really sure the role Fowler's going to play because she was the backup striker. She was the backup striker last season to Shaw, and she did a really good job when Shaw was injured. But with Miedemar there now, you'd have to assume she'll be rotating on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And obviously, Blinkilde-Brown can play in there. Park can play there as well. Kelly starts there. There's a lot of competition for Fowler to see off.
Yeah, and I don't think it's her fault really. Obviously, she wasn't happy with her game time initially. Then Shaw got injured. She came in, played that striker role, had a brilliant end to last campaign. Looked, her Hemp and Kelly as a front three were played brilliantly in the last few games. She was in a really good run of form. And now she's back to square one. Shaw's is nearly back. Miedemar's now in the door. For Fowler, it feels like she's ended up right back she was, at the start of last season, where it's like, well, I want game time. I'm not happy with my game time. So that's definitely something City have got to be aware of.
The problem for Fowler is, where do you go? Because I don't really see... Like, Real Madrid is a downgrade, so you could have gone there, but
it's playing.
And then I'm not even sure she starts at Real Madrid now. She doesn't get in at Barcelona. She doesn't start at Bayern.
I don't know then.
So, she could have made a step down to somewhere like Man United. But I don't know. I don't really see where she gets starting minutes that's still of this calibre. So I think for her, it's very much hoping that Chloe Kelly decides to move to PSG next summer.
Maybe.
Because, I think Fowler's quality, but I don't know how, where she starts. For a lot of these other top sides. So, I don't really know what to suggest with Mary Fowler. I think she's a brilliant player, but one. Again, she's either got to accept that she's not going to be a starter at a top team, or she's going to have to take a step down in quality, and I'm not sure she wants to do either. So she's kind of in that middle position. I wouldn't be surprised if NWSL was the route she took, because that there are so many teams there that are good.
The problem is, for her, she's proven that she can start. That's the problem. I'm not saying she's better than Shaw or Miedemar, but that doesn't mean that she's not capable. She's very capable. She's very good at, she could start a full WSL season, and I'm convinced she'd put up brilliant numbers. The problem is, she won't put the same numbers that Shaw or Miedemar would.
However, to caveat this conversation, has she got a better chance of usurping Kelly from the team?
Potentially.
Is there a chance that
struggled.
If she plays well, can she replace Chloe Kelly?
Maybe. Kelly really did not have a good end to last season.
It's easier to rotate wingers in and out of a game. If you're 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, I think Gareth is more likely to bring Fowler onto that right flank than he is to put her up front. But having Miedemar as the option up front is more exciting, I think. So I kind of get it, and I still think Fowler's minutes at City will be strong this season. With any injuries, she's there to be that next option. I'm sure she'd happily play on the left-hand side. So, I think she'll be fine. I think she'll get enough minutes this season. And then up front, Shaw, Miedemar and Poppy Pritchard. That is really good, isn't it? You've got the best current striker in the WSL, the former best striker in the WSL, and the next best striker in the WSL. So, where are the issues? Actually, I take that back. Miedemar was very good, but Sam Kerr better. But very good strikers. Very good strikers.
Yeah, I mean, they're ridiculous. They're sorted for now. They're sorted for the future. They're going to score goals.
They should. And if they don't, then I don't know who I blame. How has that not worked if they don't score goals?
They learned their lesson last season. They need to score goals.
Yeah, and they need to beat Arsenal. And they'll get a chance to do that in the opening day of the season. So let's look into their first 5 matches. Then to start the season, a trip away to Arsenal at the Emirates. On that Sunday, the 12:30 kickoff. We'll be live for it. Should be good. Very excited. I think it's a very tough game. I can't call it either way. I thought Arsenal would look stronger than they have. I thought Arsenal's business was really good, but in the Champions League, they were still showing the same issues they were last season. But then last season, they beat City. So it's hard to judge in that regard. Do they just need to start Stina Blackstenius and get the 2 goals early on?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting game. Other than that, it's a really nice start to the season. Brighton in match week 2, West Ham in match week 3. No issues there, I don't think. Liverpool is going to be difficult in match week 4, but I think they'll have enough to see them
Yeah.
out. And then match week 5 against Aston Villa, we don't really know what Aston Villa are going to look like this season. They have done some exciting things in the market, but it's difficult to get a gauge on where they sit at the minute. So, yeah, I'd quite like it though. I think they should get 12 points in the first 5.
At least.
They'll be hoping 15 because they'll be hoping to beat Arsenal. But yeah, I think I would think that will be a draw. If I had to call it right now, I think the opening game will be a draw and advantage Chelsea in match week 1. But
and if they take 15 points, they also have because Arsenal to play City and Chelsea. If City take 15 points, they know that either they're 3 points ahead of Arsenal, 3 points ahead of City at least, or they're at least 6 of Chelsea, or they're at least 6 points ahead of Arsenal, which is more likely to happen. But yeah, City, it's quite a nice first 5, and they know they can hit the ground running immediately, put the pressure onto Chelsea and Sonia Bonpastor. There's more likely there's going to be problems there than there was last season. New era at Chelsea. There's a chance they can slip up. City have got to put the pressure on, have got to take the opportunity. This will be their best chance for me in the last few years, and probably in the next few years, because once Bonpastor knows what she's doing, well, this could be boring.
Could be over for everyone
else. Could be. But this season is City and Arsenal's time to strike, especially for City. They were so close last season. They can go one further and win the league this year, maybe. The minimum, though, is a trophy. At least. They have to win a trophy.
So what are the expectations in the other competitions?
I think you have to win one of them. And the problem is it's a really hard one to gauge.
One of the FA Cup and League Cup, I assume you mean?
Yeah,
not like they've got to win the Champions League.
No. Win one of the FA Cup or Conti Cup.
Champions League expectations?
Go deep. You've got to go deep. They're the second best side in England. They're one of the best sides in the world. And that's the problem.
They've got to qualify first.
They have. And this is why it's such a weird conundrum, because there's no pressure on Taylor because they're so close to winning trophies. But again, when you take it on the surface of it, it's back-to-back trophyless seasons under Gareth Taylor. That should be asking questions for me, really. I look at this City side; they should be winning trophies.
So is this season trophy or
bust?
He's got to deliver.
Taylor? For me, he should deliver.
I believe he's got a contract for 2026.
I think he's safer than he should be. I really do. I find it bizarre. Because the fact that he's not winning trophies with this current City side is mental.
Yeah. Do you think they're impacting the manager market? Because the problem with if they wanted to replace Taylor this summer was that anyone who they might be interested in would be more interested in the Chelsea job. So was it more of a thing of give what? Who? There's no way Bonpastor was choosing City over Chelsea, and who else is better than Bonpastor in the market? They were never getting Jonathan Gadaldes. Never getting Jonathan Gadaldes. So who is out there that would have been, an upgrade on Bonpastor?
Yeah.
I think it's very much give Taylor this season, and if you get to the end of next summer and they still haven't won a trophy, then you look at your options. Because I could see Vidosic having a really good season with Brighton, and then maybe that's an option. Amandine Mikel, really exciting manager, just joined Leicester. If she has a great season, maybe you try and poach her. That's what they've got to be looking at. But right now, I don't see who would be a huge upgrade that they could have feasibly got. So I think in that regard, they're sort of stuck. In the same way Arsenal are. Arsenal fans call for Eidevall to be sacked, but who goes in there?
Anyone's better than that bloke.
He won a Conti Cup, though.
This is the weird thing, isn't it? It's that the Arsenal are winning trophies while City aren't.
Yeah.
But City have looked quite far better than Arsenal in the last 2 years.
City look like an organised outfit, which seems to be more than Arsenal can.
Whereas Arsenal have won the Conti Cup back-to-back now.
Yeah. City got to win something this year. That's the minimum expectation. Should be interesting. That is everything, though, for today's preview. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. And, of course, get involved in the comments down below. If you want to watch more of our previews, there'll be one on screen now from yesterday, but we spoke about Liverpool. So go and give that a watch. And, of course, go and watch the rest of our previews. We've done one for every WSL club. So far we're up to Manchester City now, and over the next few days we'll be doing Manchester United, Tottenham and West Ham, but we're almost at the WSL season now. Next Friday everything gets underway, so I'm very excited. But thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.